There we go.
Okay. Call the special solid waste meeting to order. Meeting properly announced.
Yes.
Roll call. Let the record show all committee members are present, along with Kyle. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
Bruce
Bruce and Gordy. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. Update on investment of long-term care enclosure funds. Kyle.
Yeah, so I took the opportunity to put this on the agenda, even though we weren't holding the meeting specifically for this. So we've been working with PMA to. Oh yeah, PMA. They handle our county investments. We did a resolution over the summer. Yep. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So we've been working with PMA. They use US Bank as their they're the ones that basically hold the funds kind of for them. So they looked at the documents that the DNR requires them to sign if they're going to be holding these long-term care enclosure funds. They wanted to alter the DNR documents slightly, but the DNR will not deviate from the templates that they have for those documents. So we're actually not going to end up moving the long-term care enclosure funds over to PMA. But yeah, so initially we brought this to solid waste to try and start moving forward with it. But turns out we're not going to be able to invest those funds with PMA. So we're probably just going to go to the one community bank and see what they had for CD rates there. Continue holding them with one community bank. So that was the update on that.
Okay. Discuss and/or act on proposed rates for solid waste recycling department.
John made a good point, and I don't know how anybody else feels, but I would like to see it better than less than 5 years, where he was showing that we were operating in the black in 5 years. And I didn't do a forecast. I'm not good at that. You probably could do that. But if we incrementally did a percentage this year, being that everyone is expecting price increases, everyone. I have a business that no matter who I talk to, a customer says, "Oh yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got to raise your rates." So I would say that we should simply look at a percentage of increase this year, give us more time for next year. But if we did a 12% on what they recommended our first year, this next price increase, if we did a 12% across the board, if we took our highest, excuse me, I got to back up. If we took that 12% in every category, who would be affected the worst? Now, on that basis, if we're doing a rate increase for pickup, they pay that monthly, correct? But people, when you're talking about a gate fee, people would average that maybe what, 2 or 3 times a year? Or is it this guy's bringing in all this material that you're talking about when he comes in to recycle or he comes in to dump? Does he have to pay a gate fee every time that he drives in here? I'm not familiar how that works.
Every time you come across the scale,
Okay,
you have to pay this gate.
The gate fee was being raised how much? If we can look at the individual pricing that the firm recommended.
From 62 to
66.
Okay, so if we went, so that is about, well, that's 10%. 6.2, $6.20. It's not even 10%. Excuse me. So if we went to a 12% across the board for everybody this year, so that we could start picking, and then we could next year with timing start individualizing. What are we going to do to the townships? What are we going to do to the pickups? What are we going to do to the big guys for the people that come in constantly?
So you're getting ahead of us. We actually went through this. We went 3 years, so we sped it up to 3 years. And that is, so then everything is going to get increased incrementally. First year, everything year. So the year 3 rates that they propose are our year 2 rates.
Correct.
And their year 5 rates are now our year 3 rates. So we did, and that's gonna be everything. That's gonna be commercial pickup, that's gonna be,
What is it?
so
So,
he'll throw it up. So this is,
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay. Rocky, I'm sorry.
no, we're on the same page.
Yeah, so this is New Gen's recommended rates right here. We put it all in this spreadsheet just to kind of show you all the different types of rates. So this first section here, that,
Screen share that, my eyes are too old.
oh, yeah, let me, oh, if you join the meeting, you can hop in and see it, and then I can zoom in as well.
That's good, that's good.
Okay,
Thank you.
yep. I gotta figure this thing out. Okay. Yeah, so these are all of the different rates that there are for solid waste. This is your subscription-based customers right here, with Wood Lake added on there as well. 'Cause they had, yeah,
There's only like 4.
and then we have the gate fee or the tipping fee. So we have the outside contracts at what their rate is at, and then what our gate fee is, or tipping fee, and that's per ton. These ones are monthly. Then we have the roll-offs. So this is anybody calling in saying, hey, I need a roll-off at my house. That's what the current fee is right now. That was what New Gen recommended here in 23. Then we go down to the towns. Current rates right here, New Gen recommended right here. And then we have in-county garbage and recycling commercial. So this is all the different commercial rates right here for in-county. And then we have out-of-county commercial rates as well. So those are all the different rates. And current rate, fiscal year 23, New Gen recommendation, and then you got 24, 29, 26, 27. So what Charlie was saying, we basically took New Gen's 2023 rate, and that's kind of where the direction we're going is. The 2023 rate is going to be what New Gen recommended, but 2025 is going to be the 2024 rate. 2027 is going to be the 2025 rate on our plan. And this is just a template, a plan. It's not really set in stone, but this is what it looks like out to 10 years. And I'm sorry, but this is a big spreadsheet here. So basically what we did was the same thing as New Gen in 23. 24 is their 25 rate, 25 is their 27 rate. And then here's some of the assumptions that I typed in over here. So I'll make this bigger real quick. So over here, the New Gen recommended rates for 25 are moved up to 24, like I said, 27 moved up to 25. 2026 forward, there's a 3% adjustment on these rates here. So not on the subscription-based people. We're not recommending to adjust those. Those are already fairly high rates. 2025 forward, the gate rate is a 3% adjustment. So the tipping fee all the way out to 2032. So by 2032, we'll be at $90. And I think Cranberry Creek is actually even higher than that right now. I think they're over 100. So in 10 years, we'll be close to where Cranberry Creek is at on their rates. 2025 forward, we have a 3% adjustment rounded to the nearest dollar on all the roll-offs. And on all of these, we just rounded to the nearest dollar for ease of setting or figuring them out. Then on the towns, so again, we accelerated it, so it's 3 years, not 5. And then 2026 forward, there's a 3% adjustment rounded to the nearest dollar. And then with 23 and 24 rates for New Gen, we just rounded those to the nearest dollar as well. The commercial customers, 2026 forward, 3% adjustment. So really, we're just accelerating New Gens to do 3 years instead of 5.
Well, then, that means that we're gonna do their recommendation for 2023.
Yeah.
So there's no increase.
There is.
So there's not, there's an increase here on this one. So the 35 gallon curbside. These ones these are all the subscription based residentials. Yeah. So then the outside contracts they're recommending, and those are negotiated. So we're going to try to get them up to 48. Gate rate would be 66. That's the big number that everybody worries about, is how much does it cost per ton to dump your garbage. So that's the big number that a lot of people would worry about. Roll-offs, we're getting them all in line. In county, it would be 235, out of county 395. And then all of the townships would come up to 110, with the exception of Lincoln, New Chester, New Haven, Quincy, and Rome.
You just did that, so that's not changing. Where you are changing is you're moving the next, you're moving 25 to 24.
No, sorry, we just did.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
we just talked about this at the last meeting.
yeah,
So we're not changing, it is your recommendation that we're not changing 23 at all.
right.
No, I would go with, I think especially on this first year, being how late it is in the year as well. I don't know if we want to go more. I do think the recommended rates that they kind of put together are where we want to go. I don't know if we want to go more than that on the first year, but I do think speeding up the timeline is a good idea. Like not stretching this out for 5 years, but condensing this whole 5-year plan to 3 years to get us that much quicker of stop taking basically
Okay.
tax levy dollars.
Then we followed through and we're even out into 26, 27 with the 3%.
Yeah.
But that's not set in stone.
Right. No.
That's just a recommendation that we're looking at to maintain ourselves
Yes.
because a lot of things can change.
Yeah. We're essentially saying we need to look at the CPI every year, which really hasn't been in the past, and kind of adjust accordingly.
Mhm.
The 3% is just kind of a placeholder number to look at stuff.
Yep.
Look at projections.
And then we also had this other tab here on this spreadsheet. So tax levy, we did not change that from what New Gen was recommending. So tax levy offset is right here. They were recommending close to, we rounded in near $1,000. So they were recommending these numbers here for tax levy. We used New Gen's 23, 25, and 27 numbers for revenues in 23, 24, and 25, because we're going with the accelerated rates. So the revenues estimated at that. So this was New Gen's 25. This was New Gen's 27, but this is what we're kind of recommending to be at. The revenue requirement, we were using New Gen's numbers all the way through fiscal year 2027, because those are our costs. And then 28 forward was a 3% increase. And then with the revenues, 2026 and forward, we did a 3% increase as well on the revenues, because we were accelerated to 3 years instead of 5, and then a 3% adjustment every year. Now, the other thing to note, so tomorrow is going to be the audit presentation. They're going to go through proprietary funds, and it's going to show that solid waste has profit. But they do have a cash flow issue. So right now, as of 12/31/21, there was an advance from the general fund in the amount of $827. So, sorry, $827,000. So almost $1 million. That they're basically borrowing cash from the general fund. So at the end of 23, that's what our estimate is going to be for the advance from the general fund. By 24, that starts to come down. 25, it's down even more. 26, it's right there. And then by 27 is when we're going to start building up our cash reserves. And these numbers were based off of what New Gen had. This also did not take into account, I don't believe, the full cost of the landfill expansion, because eventually there's going to need to be a new landfill. So by the end of the 10 years, be $2.4 million we would have built up at cash reserves, but again, not looking at a landfill expansion. That's gonna be like 6 to 7 million, you said, Charlie?
Yeah, easily, it's $5, $6 million. Yeah. 6 years from now, this decision needs to be made of whether,
To purchase more land.
no,
No.
so that's the thing we've done. But we have to build an entire new footprint. Because the landfill we have right now, we can't expand onto it, so we can't just build new cells because of where it's placed. We're too close to borders, stuff like that. But we do have land.
Build a new cell.
Sort of.
Yes, but you have to, in the process, you're essentially building a brand new landfill. And that cost is exponentially more than if you are just building a new cell onto your current landfill, which we can't do.
Plus you don't know whether you got the clay or not here.
And that's always gonna be an issue, it's clay costs. And that's kind of roughly built into that $5, $6, $7 million. New Gen study went out 5 years, so this was never in that because this is beyond that 5-year period. So they didn't take into account trying to build up reserves for this $7 million project.
They looked at our capital worksheets that we were using, and our capital worksheets are pretty slim. Yeah. The other thing to point out too with New Gen's recommendations. So this was just the rates that they were giving us right now. There's going to be a final, more comprehensive report for this as well. And then there's also going to be the landfill valuation. They're going to put an estimated value on what our landfill is, or what the whole facility is worth and all the operations. So there's going to be more coming, but this is just kind of one of the more pressing issues going into next year, especially for doing budgets for towns.
So has the finance and the admin been able to go over this since our last meeting?
No.
Not this. So admin and finance don't have really any say in how we set this. We decide that as a committee. So they don't, we basically ask them in on it. So they're kind of involved in it, but they don't have a vote on what our rates are.
So, and I'm sorry, just so that I understand then, this would then go back to the county board.
No, this is just you guys. That's it.
I'm lost, because I thought that this was in the decision-making process, whether or not that Adams County should still have a dump or not. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, that's how this all got started. And the larger decision of whether to continue on with the solid waste department, yes, that decision needs to go. That'll go up above. The stuff we're talking about with just the rates for the next 3-5 years, that's just
Okay.
you guys.
All right. So Rocky, where do you see that discussion on whether or not that Adams County is going to continue with an operation, a sanitary waste operation?
We decided not to sell.
Very good. Then,
That decision's already been in front of the council.
okay, very good.
Yep.
That's,
And then, but the other side of the New Gen study was also for the landfill valuation, because they were going to tell us what it was all worth, because that could potentially be a consideration for county board as well. Okay, we know what it's worth. Do we want to go that route? But this discussion right now is just getting the rates going.
I feel about that personally. I mean, you've been in this discussion now, and you're
Oh boy.
this, I'd like to hear that, because you're, and you, I don't think we're gonna lose customers because of it. I don't think anybody's gonna bat an eyelash at this, because the people that use these things are people that I believe can afford a rate increase.
The only one I'm personally concerned about for the rates is the townships and their transfer sites.
Well,
And they're not,
So we put together,
They-
I understand that, 'cause we had an uproar, I mean, a crazy uproar in Preston. When they told us we are discontinuing the dumpster, the big, and then they brought
You guys still have one?
a weekend, for 1 weekend.
Yeah, you guys have it on weekends, right?
No, 1 weekend,
Oh, that's it?
I think so.
1 weekend a month.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah, so, well, we did run the polls for the towns. And here's what each town would be seeing for an increase, these numbers right here. So the biggest one would be Big Flats for potential increase. And that was based off the last 12 months of polls.
Yeah,
Just-
just for Preston, your increase would only be $650 for the year.
So, and you see,
It's not actually overly big, and I wasn't here, but the last time we did a rate increase, township got very, very.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I believe that.
Yep.
But still take it away and there was an uproar.
Yeah.
I mean, people were just screaming, where's the dumpster? And we're only up here on weekends. And how do we know the weekend's gonna be here? And it was just, and by the time I got there, it was filled. You know, so I mean, there's a lot of pushback from the constituents in the townships. And of course, you guys don't. I mean, that's up to the township. I don't know how it is in the other townships then.
That's my concern is the townships. Maybe it'll be better than I think, but I also think we need you guys to essentially like support the decision that we're gonna make. Like, like we can't be like we as a department, we get all the phone calls and like the angry people. Like,
Hauling that comes in with the bigger trucks. I mean, the county has how many of their garbage trucks out there? And then you've got the other commercial haulers coming in, LRSs, and London Road's got a contract, but other than LRS, how many private carriers come? Is it just mainly
not
LRS?
many.
there's Pelletieri,
There's a lot of
LRS,
smaller,
Leonard.
containers, but no one brings in like residential.
LRS would probably be the biggest one.
Yeah, besides mine. I mean,
Yeah,
Leonard Road's got
London
contracts.
Road's got a contract, but
Yeah.
LRS.
LRS is really the only big individual hauler. I mean, there's like one truck a week from Waste Management. There's, yeah, Pelletieri brings in a few carrying like every now and then.
Like that.
Yeah,
LRS, is that percentage that they bring in, is that for, compared to what the county hauls in, does LRS come close to what that is, or it's just that's a minimal amount too?
I mean, compared to what we haul and what Leonard Road haul,
Yeah.
LRS is third, but probably decent, like a distant third in that.
I was just trying to think of a way to make up some different, like at the private haulers, especially where LRS competes against the county and get different ones, whether you could accelerate, you know, like it says the Cranberry Creek's at $100 a ton right now, and they're, where else do they have to go with it? They're gonna come close to this. That's the only thing I was kind of wondering about.
Is there any way that might be able to take a little bit of that township increase and pass that along to the collection, the route collecting? You know, if you went instead of leaving it at $38, if you went to 40, you know, those type of things, whether you could maybe sneak a little bit in here on the privates.
So, I mean, our residential is, it's near the top of what everyone else is offering, so we just risk. Like we, with the ordinance the county has, we'll still get the waste. Like, the waste has to come to us,
Gotta get rid of the garbage.
but we might lose the actual service.
So if I came in, if I said to you, I'm not going to do my pickup anymore, then I'm gonna have to drive to the solid waste.
Or you call
LRS.
LRS. I mean, we have competitors that you can't go to. We're not the
Yeah,
only.
we get it picked
The
up like
waste
that,
has
we
to
would
come
be.
to us, like
we're
LRS
at
will
the
pick
point
up your
where then we
garbage
go one way or the other.
And they bring it.
and they bring it here.
So the more tons they pick up, they got it. So
Yeah.
they would have to pay for my tonnage that they're picking.
And maybe that would trickle down and their price would go up for LRS. I'm just saying, we're not the only hauler in the county. So you have to be at least aware of that, and we are at the top end of what other haulers are offering at $38 a month.
So even a $2 increase.
I mean, we could, we can. I'm not saying we can't. I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate. I don't necessarily even disagree. Like, it does feel like that rate should go up a little bit.
I don't know how that would affect, if it would help, if we could use that to help reduce that township kickback.
Well, I think so New Gen came up with these rates, and they wanted to have it be the least impactful to the townships, because we've communicated to them that the towns do not want to see increases because they have these transfer sites, and a lot of them, that's the only place for their constituents to get rid of their waste. So we've communicated that to New Gen, so they're aware of that, and I kind of suspect that that's probably why they're recommending increases here on the roll-offs, to kind of subsidize the towns in a sense. Because basically towns are getting this service, the 10, 20, 30 yard roll-offs, they're getting that service. That's what this is right here.
So a normal person is paying $235, paying $110. So they're getting a crazy good deal. Already.
Raise that $38 a month for a residential pickup. I have LRS in my house, and I only pay 26, so it's already considerably higher than LRS. So
That's your contract rate, right? You have a contract with them? Oh, that's just your, and that's what-
Subscription.
Town of Springville does not have any trash pickup whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
I contract privately with LRS.
Del Prairie does have a contract with LRS, and I'm paying $8 a month.
Well, that's all the townships.
That's
are
gonna
as well.
change real soon.
We got a 5-year contract.
No, that's all
You're
our
gonna get a rate
contracts
hike
are.
from the town.
The townships that have a contract with us, Jackson, Town of Adams, City of Adams, they're all in the $10 to $15 a month contracted.
They're picking everybody up.
And they're picking the
Like
entire-
where I'm in Quincy, they're picking up,
Yeah, a handful, 200 people. about
yeah,
it.
200 people in the whole township, where instead of picking up 1,500 people.
And that's kind of the direction we want the towns to go too, is contracted curbside collection. Because it's more efficient. The waste actually
The
makes it
townships-
to the landfill and not on the side of the road.
have the Contracted, they get rid of the transfer sites then it's just that less headache. Townships having to manage transfer site as well.
So I could go to the town of Preston as a citizen and say, why don't we contract with the
Yeah.
solid waste county for a garbage pickup?
Or not even that, just say, go out for RFP for waste
What
pickup.
happens when I have scrap metal or stuff that, I guess that's not part of this.
Clean sweep. It's an easy question, we have to bring it in, and that's how it is though,
That's free.
well, scrap metal in
Recycle.
particular.
Recycling.
Yeah, recycling is free, scrap metal is free. Like basic electronics, like DVD players and
Yeah, okay.
VCRs, that stuff is free, but then you get into like your TVs cost money.
Got it.
Your refrigerators cost money,
Okay.
so. So yeah, I guess that's what we're proposing is for, at least for 2023. It would be nice if we could put out maybe the 3-year plan to hopefully stick with it, but we don't even have to, just put out, these are our rates for 2023.
Right.
And if something changes going to 24, we can look at that at that time.
I think we put the 3-year out there, that gives the townships and everybody is aware of what's coming, so they, like, every year at this time that you're,
But if we have another crazy weird inflation year like we did now,
I mean, you don't have to stick to it, but say this is our.
well, that's what I mean, we want to put
Yeah.
it out there. And then we're fighting, well, you told us last year that the rates are gonna be this, and now you're changing it to this because inflation's at 10% again instead of 3%.
Yeah.
So I just don't know. I don't,
I think the way that we were kind of leaning was just to get the rate set for next year. And then, well, I mean, this will be a blueprint basically is what we're gonna come out to be. But then we'll look at like Midwest CPI data, consumer price index to see what inflation's at, and we can even narrow it down to a particular sector of the economy to figure out where we should increase rates at. Watch.
No, we've been discussing this without a motion, but are you ready for a motion?
Yeah,
I make a motion that we accept the requested rate increase for 2023, making that available to the public or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I don't,
I mean, you know, the users.
yeah.
I'll second it.
we have a motion and a second to accept 2023 rates as presented.
Do we?
It'd be with the,
Is that motion to go along with the 3-year plan?
Make the motion for the whole 3-year plan.
I don't believe it should be sent out to the user.
Mr. Chair,
But he was saying that he believed it should be sent, but then I made the motion so that it didn't go out in the event that we had to do so. I think it's better to have that ability without the fighting and the calls. You told me this and you sent me a plan here. I've got it. You want me to email it to you? So that's why I made the motion that way.
So your motion is only for 2023.
Well, I would accept a 3-year plan here, but not sent out.
We can't keep it secret.
well, this is public record. It's part of the,
This is,
it's going to be part of the meeting minutes. So
I like the idea of the 3-year plan better, and I do like the idea that the public knows, it so they know what's coming up. They can look for it. You know, business owners that have dumpsters and whatnot, they're going to know what's coming next year, the year after.
What an asterisk if this is on it that
could be subject to change.
there's something to change.
Well, yes, that I'll accept. That I will put into the motion. Yes. With 3-year plan and available with an asterisk, subject to change. Okay.
Okay.
You got that?
Just looking for, I guess.
We probably should have voted down the first motion first and then.
Well, we amended it. I can amend it. My motion.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I have.
We'll
it,
go
as
with
an
that.
Amended motion.
Can you read that back then, please?
Okay, let me just finish here. So,
one thing to point out that would not be applicable to the outside contracts. So those are contracted. So it'd just be this one right here.
We have to add that in there. Marky?
I don't think so, because that rate doesn't, that's his own.
It's not really something the committee sets.
Okay,
Do you have?
okay. Bruce made a motion to approve the 2023 rate increase available and post to public users of solid waste or executive. Amended to read, modified to accept 3-year plan, noting an asterisk that prices could change after 2023.
acceptable?
Subject to change.
Subject to change after 2020.
Yes.
Is there anything else that maybe I should word or better?
I'll accept that motion.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
If you have a question.
We got rates.
I just wanted to ask Kyle, do you have a spreadsheet showing, I don't know that, showing your 3-year plan? And can you email that?
Oh, yeah, I can just print that. Yeah, I can just. Oh, yours? Yeah, yours is cleaner. This one breaks up every single rate. Charlie's looks a little different because it's got a little sliders on it, kind of. Yeah, do you want to do that? Because that'll probably be part of the correspondence you send out. Oh, there's been chats on. Cynthia said, please only set 2023 annual review to set rates going forward. So I mean, that's basically what the motion did anyways.
So,
Yeah, because it's going to be subject to change. We're going to reevaluate it.
Okay, anything else?
No, I'm good. I'm gonna touch base with you next.
What is your guys's, I would like the committee's recommendation on the rates to the township, how we tell them, basically. Should you be having a meeting, a live person meeting with each individual township between now and the end of the year? You want to just send out a correspondence?
Wisconsin Towns Association meeting is the 27th of this month. You might want to get on the.
Well, I think it'd be, I mean, for our rates now, tomorrow you should be able to send the rates out in an email correspondence to everybody.
Say again?
Tomorrow you should be able to send out a correspondence with the rates for each township for.
That's two townships, just send out a letter. I mean, with each individual township's rate.
Yeah.
I mean, I could write up probably one mass correspondence that just change the details for that individual township.
Yeah.
And send them each a letter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. I just didn't know
If-
what you guys recommend.
If possible, with the correspondence, if you could have what their tonnage and tippage they had for the previous year, so that they know what the tonnage.
Just like you did.
Yeah.
You got that right.
Yeah.
there. Your increase should be this month, your increase. Because when I see that, if I was a town chair or whatever, now depending upon what they have in their budgeting, but Preston's $900. So $90 a month.
Yep.
So for $86.
And some of them were more, I think, like $3,000 was up there.
You know, if the tippage in the truck, you can get a pretty good guess at what it is. And I know,
Yeah.
and I know Wednesday night, we're finalizing our budget, so we can have that information. Put that towards it.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
There's nothing else about this, meeting adjourned. Stop that recording. Cynthia gets mad at me when we go up, have to start on the agenda.